welcome to Auto News Talk.
Great to be here.
You know, if you've been watching the automotive industry for a long while, it really felt exactly like watching a gold rush.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We had this era of seemingly unlimited technological expansion. Like, every brand was pushing out these hyper-advanced, all-electric flagship vehicles with astronomical price tags.
Right, the $100,000 super trucks.
Exactly. And it felt like the sky was the absolute limit. But if you look closely at the market at this exact moment, that gold rush has hit a very real, very solid economic brick wall.
It really has.
We are entering an entirely new era, like an era of ruthless optimization, and the stakes are just incredibly high for everyone involved.
Absolutely.
From the major automakers all the way down to your local dealership's service bay, everyone is suddenly being forced to squeeze efficiency out of every single corner, just to, make the math work.
Yeah, it is a massive structural shift. And I mean,
Yeah.
to really understand the terrain we're walking through, you can't just look at the shiny new sheet metal rolling off the assembly line.
Right. That's just the surface.
Exactly. That only tells a tiny fraction of the story. To understand this optimization era, you have to look at the entire ecosystem as one connected organism.
I like that. An ecosystem.
Yeah, so our journey is going to start right on the showroom floor, looking at the immense pressure on the consumer's wallet.
Because that's where the pain starts.
Right. And from there, we will trace the impact back to the dealership level, specifically how they are desperately defending their margins in the service bays and on their digital platforms.
Which is fascinating in itself.
And finally, we will go all the way upstream into the factory itself to see how even the microscopic chips inside the car's brain are being stripped down. Everything is connected by this sudden, intense mandate to just cut the fat.
I love that ecosystem approach. Let's start right at the point of sale with the consumer. Because the overwhelming vibe I'm getting from the market data is that buyers are just flat out rejecting these massive costs.
They are. The pushback is real.
It's kind of like, imagine automakers spent the last development cycle treating electric vehicles like an exclusive, high-end tasting menu at a five-star restaurant.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right. But now the doors are open and consumers are standing there desperately waving their hands, signaling that they just want a reliable $40 combo meal.
That is a perfect analogy, and the data backs your theory up perfectly. One of our key sources, an auto retail snapshot analysis, puts hard numbers to that exact consumer sentiment.
What are the numbers looking like?
Well, the central insight here is that market demand is aggressively shifting toward affordable pragmatism and away from pure electrification.
Interesting.
The overall market is still moving, though. The snapshot shows the seasonally adjusted annual rate, or SAAR, reached 16.1 million vehicles.
Wait, pause right there for a second. For anyone listening who doesn't live and breathe sales metrics, what exactly does a 16.1 million SAAR mean in plain English?
Oh, sure. Think of SAAR as the industry's speedometer.
Okay, speedometer.
Yeah, it takes the current sales pace and projects it out for a full 12-month cycle, but it adjusts for seasonal swings.
Yeah.
Like the fact that people buy more cars in the spring than the winter.
Right. That makes sense.
So a 16.1 million SR means the industry is cruising at a very healthy speed.
Yeah.
People are absolutely still buying cars.
So the market isn't dead.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But the powertrain mix, the actual types of cars they're buying, is where the story gets really fascinating. Hybrid volume is up 14.8%.
Wow. Okay.
Meanwhile, battery electric vehicles, or BEVs, slid by a massive 30.8%.
A 30% drop. That is staggering when you consider the billions of dollars invested in entirely new electric platforms.
It's a huge hit.
And the driving force behind this has to be the affordability crisis, right? I mean, the snapshot points out that the average monthly payment has hit $810.
Yeah, $810.
And that is with an average interest rate hovering at 6.59%. I mean, who can afford that?
Exactly. When the baseline cost of borrowing money is that high, the math on a luxury electric vehicle just stops making sense for the average household.
It really does.
And the piece on the retail snapshot highlights a terrifying ripple effect of this. It shows that 13.4% of buyers are now stretching their auto loans to 84 months or more just to afford the vehicle.
Okay, let's just sit with that for a second. An 84-month loan?
It's a long time.
That is 7 years. If you buy a car and put your newborn in the car seat in the back, you will still be making payments on that exact same vehicle when that kid is in second grade learning multiplication tables.
It sounds crazy when you put it like that.
It's wild. That is a massive financial stretch just to make the monthly payment look palatable on paper.
Which perfectly explains the 14.8% jump in hybrids we talked about. Hybrids alleviate the charging infrastructure anxieties, sure, but more importantly, they address the fundamental cost concerns.
They are simply more accessible.
Exactly. And this is forcing dealers to rethink their lots entirely, though we do have to acknowledge a limitation here with the data.
What's that?
What this specific retail snapshot doesn't tell us is whether this 30% drop in BEV sales means the EV revolution is permanently stabilizing at this lower peer, or if this is just a temporary growing pain while public charging infrastructure catches up.
Right, we don't quite know where the floor is yet for EVs.
We really don't.
But we do know how legacy automakers are reacting to that uncertainty, and they aren't waiting around to find out.
No, they are moving fast.
Because a different report looking into Stellantis and the Chrysler brand revival shows a drastic pivot. They are literally abandoning grand EV-only promises just to survive this affordability crisis.
Yeah, the Chrysler Airflow SUV is the perfect case study for this.
I remember the Airflow.
Right. When the Airflow was first teased in its concept phase, the pitch was incredibly ambitious. It was positioned as this sleek, futuristic, entirely electric vehicle.
A real flagship model.
Exactly. But the strategy shifted entirely. The latest reporting indicates the production version of the Airflow is taking a totally different path.
They are changing the powertrain?
Yes. They are targeting a starting price under $40,000. And to get there, they are launching it with a gas-powered inline-four engine.
They are dropping the tasting menu and serving the combo meal.
That is exactly what they're doing.
I mean, a sub-$40,000 gas engine is the absolute definition of mainstream volume.
And it is part of a much broader defensive strategy for them. The same source notes that Chrysler is also planning 2 smaller crossovers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Aero and the Aero Cross. And they're launching by the end of the decade. The goal is to dramatically broaden their mainstream reach.
So they are really leaning into volume.
Right. It proves that major legacy automakers are more than willing to pivot back to traditional combustion architectures if it means hitting that magic mainstream price point.
Because right now, affordability drives volume. Full stop.
Full stop.
I am genuinely curious about those smaller models, though, because what the source material leaves completely open is how the Aero and Aero Cross will physically differentiate from their Fiat platform cousins.
Yeah, that's the tricky part of platform sharing.
Right, because it's great for cutting costs, but you still need the consumer to feel like they are buying a distinct premium Chrysler product and not just, a rebadged Fiat.
That remains a major open question for their brand identity moving forward. But it highlights the overarching theme here. Margins are tight everywhere.
Okay, so if the cars themselves are getting cheaper to appeal to buyers and people are stretching their loans to the absolute limit, what happens to the guy actually selling the car?
It gets tough for them, too.
Right. If the front-end showroom floor is facing all these affordability headwinds, dealerships must be getting incredibly defensive about their profits.
Highly defensive. Because front-end sales are facing those headwinds, dealerships are frantically protecting the margins they can actually control.
Which means what, practically?
At the local level, that means building a fortress around the service bay and fixing their digital storefronts.
Let's use a leaky bucket analogy for this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Say you run a dealership. The water coming into the top of the bucket represents your front-end car sales.
Right.
If that water pressure drops because of high interest rates, you suddenly realize you cannot afford to have massive holes in the bottom of your bucket. You have to patch the leaks.
And it seems like dealers are realizing an understaffed service department is a massive hole.
Exactly.
Yeah, a detailed auto retail hiring report backs up your leaky bucket theory brilliantly.
Oh, let's hear the data.
The central insight of the hiring data is that dealerships are actively cutting front-of-house bloat while fiercely competing for highly technical service staff.
So the focus is entirely shifting.
Completely. Overall, vacancies in the motor trades fell to 13,000. Which is actually down 28%.
So they are freezing hiring across the board.
Well, not across the board. The type of roles they are cutting versus adding is the real story here.
Break that down for me.
Sales and management hiring demands softened significantly. Sales roles dropped 30%, and management dropped 21%.
Wow.
Right.
That is a clear pullback on the showroom floor.
It is. But on the flip side, the demand for vehicle inspection skills spiked by 29%.
No kidding.
Yeah, and demand for detail-oriented skills jumped 31%. Mechanics and suspension roles are up 20%.
They are completely flipping the script. They don't want managers, they want technicians.
Precisely. Dealers are safeguarding their revenue-critical workshop operations. Diagnostics and throughput, meaning getting broken cars fixed efficiently and accurately. Those are the new reliable profit centers.
Though I guess the limitation of the hiring report is that it doesn't clarify if this is a permanent structural shift in the dealership business model.
Right, or just a cyclical freeze while they wait out the affordability crunch.
Exactly. Like, if interest rates drop, do they go right back to hiring an army of salespeople?
It's a fair question. But for now, the emphasis on operational efficiency is undeniable. And that brings us to the second massive leak in the bucket,
The website.
the dealership website.
Oh, this is the part that completely blew my mind. We don't often think of website code as a physical bottom-line business problem, but a slow website is actively bleeding dealership profits.
So heavily.
Yeah.
We have a dedicated digital retailing analysis that breaks this down, and the numbers are just jarring.
How bad is it?
They found that an astonishing 92% of local dealership domains fail Google's mobile speed requirements.
92%. So basically, almost every single time you, the listener, try to look at a car on your phone, the site is technically failing.
Yes, most of them are. And we need to explain why that matters, because it is not just a minor annoyance for the user.
It costs real money.
It is a severe financial drain for the business. The data shows that sites failing these core web vitals waste $30 of every $100 in ad spend.
Okay, let's walk through the actual user journey of how $30 just vanishes.
Sure.
Imagine you are sitting on your couch, scrolling on your phone, you see an ad for a truck you like, and you tap it.
Standard behavior.
Right. But because the site is bloated, you get a white screen. 1 second goes by. 2 seconds. The little loading wheel is just spinning.
People have zero patience for that.
Exactly. By the 3rd second, you get frustrated, swipe out, and go back to what you were doing.
Yep.
The dealership just paid Google or Facebook for that click, but you never even saw the inventory. You bounced.
They might as well have set 30% of their marketing budget on fire.
That is exactly the mechanism at play.
And the analysis shows a severe negative correlation between page speed and Google rankings. It's an RI value of negative 0.922.
For those of us who haven't taken stats in a while, what does that mean?
In statistics, a negative correlation that strong means the moment your page speed drops, your visibility plummets like a stone.
Wow.
The report clearly states that vehicle detail pages, or VDPs, must load in under 3 seconds to protect conversions.
Okay, but I have to admit some confusion here. If it is costing them 30% of their ad budget, why don't they just delete the heavy code?
It's not that simple.
Like, what is this script bloat actually made of?
It's a whole mix of things. Tracking pixels, chatbots, pop-ups, third-party inventory tools, it piles up.
Who was putting all that on there?
Well, the limitation of this specific analysis is that it doesn't answer how much of this script bloat is imposed by OEM mandates versus choices made by the local dealer.
Oh, meaning corporate tells them to do it.
Often, yes. The corporate manufacturer dictates that a local dealer absolutely must run specific corporate tracking scripts to stay compliant.
Ah, so corporate wants to track every single click, and they force the local dealer to load all this heavy code, which ironically prevents the customer from ever seeing the car in the first place.
Exactly. It is a massive leak in the bucket.
That is wild.
It is. Okay. So we have seen dealers plugging leaks in the service bay and desperately trying to fix their digital lots.
Right.
But what about the cars themselves? You cannot fix industry margins if the physical vehicle costs a fortune to assemble. That brings us upstream to the factory floor. The mandate for efficiency goes all the way down to the microchip level.
This is fascinating because for years, the industry narrative has been that cars are becoming, computers on wheels.
Right, everyone says that.
But the sheer complexity of the hardware has gotten entirely out of hand.
Very much so.
Instead of 1,000 bespoke artisanal microchips for every little feature like, one custom chip just for the windshield wipers and a totally different custom chip for the heated seats, automakers are realizing they need standard Lego bricks to build the car's brain.
Standard Lego bricks is the perfect way to visualize it. And a source detailing the strategic partnership between the automaker NIO and the semiconductor company GigaDevice highlights this shift perfectly.
What are they doing differently?
The central insight here is that automakers are bypassing traditional supply chains and forming direct partnerships with chip makers. They want to slash vehicle complexity and lower the bill of materials.
So they aren't just calling a supplier and buying parts out of a catalog.
Nope. They are co-developing the hardware from scratch. NIO and GigaDevice are co-developing automotive-grade semiconductors, specifically memory chips and microcontrollers, or MCUs.
What's the end goal of doing that?
The ultimate goal is to standardize the hardware baseline for smart cockpits and assisted driving systems. And the scale of the reduction they are aiming for is what makes this so important.
How big of a reduction are we talking?
NIO has an internal goal to shrink their variety of unique semiconductors down to roughly 400 chip types.
Just 400, down from what must be thousands of unique variants across a modern vehicle lineup.
Exactly. It's a huge consolidation.
But explain the mechanics of this to me. I know chips are tiny, physical things. Why does having 1,000 different chips hurt the bottom line so much compared to 400?
It all comes down to software updates.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you have 1,000 different chips, each running its own specific firmware branch, sending an over-the-air software update to the fleet is a logistical nightmare.
That makes sense.
Imagine your phone needing an update, but the manufacturer has to test the code against 100 different camera lenses and 50 different screens.
It would break constantly.
Right. By standardizing the chips into a unified hardware baseline, development becomes exponentially faster.
And cheaper, I assume.
Much cheaper.
Yeah.
Supply chain risk drops because you are buying fewer types of parts in higher bulk. And those over-the-air updates become seamless and cheap to deploy.
It is the ultimate form of optimization. You aren't just changing the engine, you are redesigning the entire nervous system of the car to be as simple and cost-effective as possible.
That's exactly it.
The only limitation I see in the reporting is that the partnership announcement doesn't disclose the financial terms of the deal.
True, we don't know the dollar amounts.
It also leaves open the question of whether they will eventually try to standardize massive power processors for the drivetrain, or if they are just sticking to the smaller microcontrollers for the smart cockpit for now.
That will definitely be the next frontier to watch. But, if we step back and pull all of this together,
Yeah, let's zoom out.
if we connect the dots from the microscopic silicon chips all the way to the dealership showroom floor, a remarkably cohesive narrative emerges. I see three major themes defining this era.
What's the first one?
First, there is a massive flight to affordability. The consumer is demanding it.
Like we saw with the combos.
Exactly. We see this supported by the retail snapshot showing the aggressive shift to hybrids over pure BEVs. And we see it in Stellantis pivoting the Chrysler Airflow back to a gas engine just to stay under that $40,000 threshold.
The market is forcefully dictating the product.
Absolutely. The second theme is ruthless margin protection. The days of unlimited spending are just over.
Everyone is tightening their belts.
Right. This is supported by the hiring data, showing dealerships halting sales floor hires to fiercely recruit diagnostic techs. And it's supported by the website data, highlighting the desperate need to patch that $30 ad waste caused by bloated mobile sites.
The leaky buckets.
Yes. And the third theme is hardware standardization. The industry can no longer afford infinite bespoke complexity.
Like NIO reducing their chip count.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Supported clearly by that NIO strategy of stripping out unique chip variants to speed up software development and cut base costs.
But there is some real friction here, isn't there? When you look at all these moving parts, they definitely don't all align perfectly.
They don't. There are two glaring tensions causing real pain in the industry right now.
Break this down for us.
The first is a digital retail contradiction. The industry is pushing incredibly hard for a seamless, high-tech, digital-first retail environment.
Right. Buying a car on your phone.
Yet that vision violently clashes with the reality supported by the website data. 92% of local dealer websites are too bloated to load properly on a mobile phone.
Which is wild. You cannot execute a digital revolution on a platform that takes 5 seconds to render a single photo.
Exactly. It's like trying to stream a 4K movie over a dial-up internet connection. The ambition doesn't match the infrastructure.
What's the second tension?
It happens at the factory level. The industry's desire to offer hyper-customized, feature-rich, software-defined vehicles completely contradicts the harsh economic necessity to standardize and reduce unique microchips, like we saw with NIO.
Oh, I see. You want infinite customization for the user interface, but you need strict, rigid standardization on the hardware side to keep costs down.
Balancing those two opposing forces is incredibly difficult.
So after tracing this entire ecosystem, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Like, what is the practical takeaway here?
The practical so what is this? In a tightening, hyper-optimized market, the winners will no longer be the ones with the flashiest concept cars or the most ambitious technological promises.
And when's that?
The winners will be the operators who plug their bottom-line leaks the best.
Ah,
Whether that means getting your mobile vehicle detail page to load in 2.5 seconds, hiring the right suspension mechanic to keep your service bay churning, or cutting 100 redundant microchips out of a dashboard design, operational efficiency is the ultimate competitive advantage.
Efficiency is the new horsepower. We have officially moved from the era of build it at any cost to the era of make the math make sense.
Well said.
As you watch the market shift, keep a very close eye on how many legacy brands quietly walk back their grand all-electric promises in favor of practical, affordable hybrids.
It's going to happen more and more.
The gold rush might be over, but for the companies that know how to build a better leak-proof bucket, there is still plenty of opportunity. Thank you for joining us on Auto News Talk.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, ask yourself, where are the invisible leaks in your own operations and how fast can you plug them?